There's an old saying in the technical world that the trend is your friend in the end until it's not. So let's find out what the trend is in the market. My name is Brian Cannon and welcome to Markets in 5. I got several charts I'm going to go through, so I'm just going to jump right in. So let's figure out what the S&P 500 doing as far as the trend. You can see that RSI is certainly back above 50, which is good. All of the moving averages are in line, so that's good. We do have kind of a triple top up here, so it kind of hit resistance, and now we're right at it again. So in the futures today, look down a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. But as far as the long-term trend, it looks good. As long as the short-term trend, it's very, very choppy and indecisive. So we'll see if it, how it looks. All right, so when we zoom into that same chart, the S&P 500, you can see that this is kind of that triple top I was talking about. So it kind of came up and hit it, and here we are again. So you've got this line of resistance with a sloping up line here, and generally speaking, those types of patterns usually resolve themselves to the downside. They can certainly pop through if they pop through the upside and hold. Is a very good sign, but a lot of times they do resolve themselves to the downside. But we want to watch for this pattern. Does it, does it break out and up? That would be fantastic. If it breaks down, then we're looking for various levels of support. First and foremost is this line here, and if it breaks this line, it's going to break the 20 and the 50. So then you're going to look immediately for the 100-day moving average as a area of support. And if not, then down here to the 200-day moving average. And I would venture to say if we break that 200-day moving average to the downside, it could get a little worse than not. Okay, when we look at the NASDAQ, it's not performing quite as well as the S&P. The S&P, again, was at kind of a triple top. So this is having a little bit lower lows and a little bit higher highs. So it's in a wind-up pattern right here. And I think it's going to track the same direction that the S&P 500 does. Essentially, if the S&P breaks out and up, then I think we can expect the NASDAQ to break out and up as well. However, if the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 breaks down out of that triangle to the downside, then I think we can expect the NASDAQ to do the same. So it would break this triangle to the downside. So then we would be looking for support, on the 200-day moving average. But we're already starting to see the averages start to roll over a little bit. So that's a little bit of an early sign that we might be going to the downside on this, but we're going to watch it closely. This is where we don't try to market time or put in our own personal opinions or thoughts. Just follow the trends. Let the trends tell us what's going on. And right now, it's very indecisive. Anytime you have a wind-up like this, again, it either breaks up or it breaks down. All right, I know I beat this one to death, but it's so important. Right now, we just had the yield curve normalize. The normalization of yield curves generally comes near the topping of a market. So it doesn't mean that the market's going to roll over tomorrow or the next day or the next month. It could be 6 months out. But generally speaking, when we have a yield curve inversion, it's followed by a recession. So is that recession weeks away, months away, half a year or so, or maybe a year away? We don't know, but we want to watch the trend of the market and make sure that the trend is our friend until the end, until it's not. So we're watching this very closely. In the end, there's a lot of different trends to follow. So, I think the thing is you've got to be diligent and consistent. If you look at a shorter term trend, it's going to tell a different story than a longer term trend. So right now, I think things are okay. There's a lot that can occur in the markets in the next, call it a couple weeks to a couple months, and certainly before the election. So we'll be watching closely, but if you have any questions, give me a shout, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next Markets in 5.